Well, hello, everyone. I'm Darth Hester. How you doing? And welcome to a special episode, a cancel culture discussion. Apparently, my co-host is a little late, so the show must go on. I think it's abhorrently dumb. This whole cancel culture stuff. The next thing they're probably going to tell us is that, has anybody heard of reborn dolls? Next thing you're going to tell us is that reborn dolls are canceled because they're they're old time practice that probably should not be used anymore. It's just absolutely dumb stuff they come up with. That's not a real thing. This is just all humor and poking fun at the whole cancel culture thing. So everything here you should really be taking with a very grain, not even a grain of salt. It's just off the cuff satire. The funny thing is, I don't even know why cancel culture even exists. I think it's a funny thought. Just because you don't agree with somebody, they don't align with your view, does that give you the right to ruin their life and cancel them? It's abhorrently asinine. It's absolutely atrocious. Why would you even think that is an appropriate thing to do? That is definitely not an appropriate human response. That's even more unnerving than my mask, which I'll just pop my avatar here in the chat. Ooh, or the yeah, it's more unnerving than that mask. That's how bad this cancel culture stuff is. I hope my host comes soon, because this is gonna get pretty fun really quick. And now I get the notification that this thing's live. That was weird. And welcome, Colin P. Smith. Thank you for coming, my friend. Seem to be quite the regular now. I'm glad you came. Yes, even slightly out of focus, it's even more unnerving. Yes, I do agree with you. That's kind of why I did it. It is a very, ugh, it puts you on edge. It really does. And yeah, that's kind of why I use it. But back to the case in point, cancel culture. And who's answer that?
Hello?
Good,
Hello?
good evening.
Yeah, he's here.
Hold on a second. Apparently, personal call.
You know your daddy was one.
I'm sorry, that was important. Won't happen again. Um,
Why do I have to take your phone?
apparently, triples and technical difficulties along with random phone calls. Yes. Hello, V Star. Thank you. Hello, Angura Angelus. Thank you for coming. There was a. I was supposed to be joined by a guest, but apparently that didn't happen. Something fell through. Butterflies, thank you for coming. Back to cancel culture. This is just absolutely dumb. It makes it makes even the dumbest of us look smart because this is just absolutely atrocious. And I did have a comment up here that I kind of, yes, very steampunkish. I think it was this one. No, that wasn't. And the interruptions are unending. This is what I get for streaming in the middle of the day. I don't get this at night. The modern version of medieval Inquisition auto de fe. Did I say that right? Auto de fe. Public humiliation and denial of livelihood. Yeah, why don't they just don't have the guts to do it in public. And I think it's cowardice. Yeah. And I'll say that without the avatar. I think it's cowardice. Yeah, I'm calling out cancel culture. I'm calling it out on what it is. Absolute BS. So I did get the pronunciation right. Nice. Awesome. I believe it's French, right? Isn't it? Or no. No, you didn't miss much. You're in pretty much just in time. That's basically my personal take on cancel culture. I was supposed to have a guest, um, but I think he's running a little late. Let me check my messages. Let's see what's going on here, peeps. No reply back. Holy cow. Let's see if I can actually get somebody else in here that might actually have a take on this. And girl, I think I sent you a link if you want to weigh in. One guess is better than no guess, I guess. I do agree with this, Colin. Yes, and I love the way you spelled stupid. It's about as stupid as that the spelling. I do have to laugh at that because that's exactly what it is, man. It's stupid. Would literally eat themselves. Yes. Angura and Jealous, I actually sent you a link in the Discord if you want to come join. It'll be in your direct messages if you actually want to come weigh in on this. Wrong link. I sent the wrong link. Okay. Let's see if this one's the right link. There we go. That might help. You're right. That was the wrong link. Holy crap. Sorry about that. Okay, butterflies. My fiance is so sweet. Positive candor. Yeah. Thank you. Positive candor. That it might actually be an original. I'm not sure. I haven't even had it appraised or anything. But I'm kind of wondering if it is an original poster. And positive candor. I do apologize for last night. I know you had a hard time getting a word in edgewise, and I've taken care of that situation, and I am deeply sorry, my friend. And here we are, pulling Angura and Jealous out of the pneumatic tubes of the U. There you are, buddy. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, guys? And as for how I'm doing,
Okay, I'm glad.
I'm alive. That's all that counts.
The interruptions are never ending right now. I'm sorry, everyone. It is.
I know how it's like.
What's your take on cancel culture right now?
I'll sum it in this week on USA Today. Cancel culture canceled.
We can't use USA Today.
I know.
This week on the Eldrick Post, cancel culture. Go ahead. Take it away, Angura.
Cancel culture is canceled for the fact they canceled themselves. The end. And that's pretty much what they're about to do.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely an abomination of even thought. It's like, why even do that? People publicly humiliate themselves enough. I don't lead me to temptation. I could damn well find it myself.
Yeah, I mean, positive. I mean, we don't need to cancel culture. To me, I see it canceling itself. They're doing too many things at once, and it's throwing them in the dirt.
Yeah, true. I believe it's absolutely. Hey, Parrot Head.
I mean, on
Yeah.
one spectrum, we got the Dynamite issue. Then on the other spectrum, we got women's NBA team manager going, yeah, you're trying to cancel me? No.
WNBA.
Yeah. The manager
glad I
of the
don't-
Dream Team.
I'm glad I don't pay attention to sports. It'd just make me
Yeah.
mad.
Essentially on that one. I sent you a link a while back. It's where the
Oh, that yes.
Yeah. Essentially the I think it's the manager or co-CEO, someone who's trying to buy the team, pretty much, is like, I'd rather see support for those that do good than slogans of people who are, how do you say, trying to cancel everything out. She'd rather not have political out views on a jersey and instead have a U.S. flag on it, which I agree. I mean,
I don't know where this chat's going,
yep.
but it's just absolutely ridiculous. What are they trying to cancel her about again? I forget.
Because she wouldn't put a Black Lives Matter slogan on the jerseys.
Really?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. And she solidified her reasoning by saying, I may not support Black Lives Matter, but Black Lives do matter.
And she's still getting canceled.
Yep. Or trying to. But she's steadfast.
This is... For asinine moments of the day, stick with us on the Eldrick Post.
Yeah. But yeah, essentially what she thinks is your personal values is your personal values. There's no one to take those away from you. But in the end, a platform like sports is about unity and individualism. So if everybody's forced to wear the same thing when it comes to like political statements, not everybody's going to agree with it. And thus, where's the unity and individualism?
Yeah, I hardly have to agree with you on that. I guess I'm just sick of it. It's abhorrently stupid even beyond Eldrick levels of standards. And comprehension. It's just absolutely maddening.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
And that's me putting it lightly.
Yeah. I mean, when we look at what's going on around the whole aspect of, well, sports and entertainment and comics and games, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
It truly is. It's got its ups and downs, and I'm not really too happy with what they're doing to Cecil at Dynamite.
No, me neither.
I mean, I'm not.
I don't know the full story of that, but still, I mean, being pushed out for your views, I thought that was illegal.
I believe it is. I believe it's discrimination.
Yeah.
Based on values and morals, and maybe even possible religious standards.
Possibly.
I don't know if he's religious, but I believe it could possibly go that far if you really want to push it that way. I don't know what all these bleeps are. Maybe it's another message. Maybe it's for my
Yeah, I mean,
other.
to
I'll
me,
check real
this
quick.
cancel culture is driving us back to the days of where of why Martin Luther King and all of them marched, and they'd be rolling in their fucking graves right now.
Oh, they probably are. They're probably making storms of tornadoes as much as they're rolling. You ever wonder why we're getting such constant freak weather? All these people rolling around in their graves for fighting for what they believed in.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just our soldiers that fought for the freedoms they have. It's actual people.
Yes, and I think that's really. I think people have lost their imagination. They can't really separate. I think that's really what's wrong with um,
Yeah.
culture nowadays and people.
Well, you
They
got to
can't
remember.
separate fantasy from reality anymore.
Well, it's been said on a few streams so far. The aspect of imagination is pushed out of us in school anymore.
Yeah, you can't have a free thought in school anymore. You get reprimanded for it. If you're a
Yeah.
free thinker, they don't like you.
Yeah. I
I'm
mean,
I I'm living proof of that.
I mean, I
They
could
didn't
be
like
living
me
proof
at
too
all.
because I learned subtraction before I learned addition. I learned division before I learned multiplication. I learned cursive in like second grade, and I was told not to use them. And I'm sitting here like, why can't I use them? Because nobody in the school is using it yet until you hit third grade.
I even told
Why?
my fifth grade English and spelling teacher that I don't know why we're reading cursive. It's just gonna fade away anyway. I don't know why we have to learn how to write a check. And I was right. I bet you she's like, boy, I
Oh,
wish I wish I could actually talk to him right now.
oh, Colin, do not get me started on the similarities of history that is passing right now.
It is absolutely crazy how
One thing I would say I was really good at in school was history. And I'm sitting here and I'm looking at everything that's happening, all these protests, and I'm wondering, when are we burning books next?
give it time. Give it time.
How soon are we going to tarnish a beautiful, meaningful uh, trinket or slogan or anything?
Parrot has got a point.
Yeah, pretty much. I
We know
mean,
where the problem is.
and it's sad because I mean, schools don't get the funding they need. In fact, that was threatened recently. God, God. But I mean,
Wow, you're kidding. You gotta be kidding. Is this really a thing? That is scary. Do you want to come up and say something, B Star? Because I could send you a link.
but yeah, I don't know much about the 1619 project, but I know it's a very controversial item.
Oh, yes, it's a very hot topic, especially nowadays. A lot of people are referencing it.
Yeah, but I mean, I was reading through the news a little bit, and I'm sitting here, and people are saying that genetics has a lot to play on this too, and I'm like, I personally don't see it.
I don't blame you, V Star. Look at this right here. Uh, this is just absolute. This and wonder why.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
don't. It's it started at ground level, basically in education,
yeah,
and it's taught. It's taught to our kids not to think freely.
and here's the bad
And
part:
isn't that what America is about though?
free thinking and innovation. Yeah,
Freedom, free thinking and innovation. If you don't have free thinkers and innovators, what what is that going to do to our industries? What is that going to do to everything? It's going to it's going to crumble within a lifespan. Sorry, I had a mm. This is just you'll come up for a minute? Okay, I'll pop you a link. And here we go.
so
It
essentially, the
should
1619
be
project is U.S. history didn't start till the first black slave popped up, or rather, the first slave period.
yeah, basically. It's weird.
Ooh, yeah, I know quite a few Native Americans that'll be going "fuck you" to all that.
It's just it's just bad all around.
Yeah,
We got this virus to worry about.
yeah, and I think that's what's making everybody crazy is being stuck at home and everything.
Yeah, you put a type A personality in and tell them they can't go outside their homes. Yeah, it's gonna make them stir crazy really quickly.
Yep, but I hate to say it, it's needed. The only issue is it was done improperly. Honestly, Parrothead, I don't even care if it's the left, right, right in the middle. I mean,
I just I just think it's just absolutely dumb. It's just it does beckon back to the old the old public humiliations like throwing rotten food at people and
yeah.
as
And
they're
what's worse is they're using
going through the streets
half-assed.
in chains.
And what's sad is they're using half truths.
It's in the Discord. It's in your direct messages, V Star.
But yeah, what's sad is they're using half truths to do this shit. They're not telling the whole story. And when you tell the whole story, they get bitchy. There is no courtesy to their debate.
Well, we'll know if she finds it because we'll see her in here.
Yep.
Now I'm gonna see if this is actually working on the. I think it's echoing on my. So hold on. Give me a couple more seconds. The chat's a little fat. the YouTube, so I'm going to go on here real quick. Okay. Yeah, I'm switching back and forth real quick to see it because the chat actually moves faster than the StreamYards
On YouTube. Yeah.
on YouTube. So it seems to be a lot more efficient that way. Yes, I'm learning as I go, people. Woohoo! And I can't read today. I need new glasses bad. Like freaking yesterday.
I need a new right hand. I dropped my food this morning, and I didn't even realize I dropped it till I dropped it.
And she made it. And here she is.
Hey, V-Star, how you doing, man?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good.
What are your thoughts on this?
Oh, I hear. Is that me? I shut everything off. I just have StreamYard up. Am I echoing?
A little
Not
bit, but
much. It's bearable. Don't worry about it.
Okay, maybe I'll.
Just
is
glad
that
you're
better?
here. Yes, that's a little better. Glad you're here. What are your thoughts on this?
My point is, and I'm going to get back to school. Okay. My mom had me or adopted me when she was in her 30s, and she was a builder from 1920. That was her generation. Being born in 1962, they kind of classify the 62s as maybe a baby boomer and maybe a Generation X. So we're kind of like in the middle. I did not have my son until I was 32. Right. So I had him older. So I had all the upbringing of the 50s, 60s through my mom. Okay. That was when they worked hard. Everybody was getting like colored TV. There were 2 cars. I mean, life was good. Then I went through all the riots and all the stuff in LA. So, and I have always been for the underdog, no matter. I don't see color. I think color is just stupid. Not stupid, but we all bleed the same. You know, Berea has a very good outlook. You know, we all bleed the same. What is color? So I was born with bigot and parents and very racist. But when I go to my mom and was saying, Mom, hello, Italians, Palermo, Sicily is blonde hair, blue eyed. Where'd you get your nappy hair, dark eyed, olive skin from? Oh, yeah, I would get shut down. So my point was, I was always a free thinker, always. And they didn't know what was wrong with me. Well, come to find out, dyslexia, blah, 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 ADHD, but that was later on. But think about it. I had to, until last September, was diagnosed with the ADHD. That's 50 plus years. I've been walking this earth, fitting in to where like the words moved on pages, very artistic, doing my poetry, my head, you know, my friend BJ, Nancy, your head's always in the clouds. I'm like, hell yeah. And then I fire back at him this year. Well, everything's in the cloud now, laugh out loud, because really, where do you store stuff now? In the cloud. My point being, when my son was raised, how I raised my son was no, they're human beings. They are not necessarily right, Stephen. You must not conform to where the sheep are going. You are brilliant. I don't care what he was doing. He would grab his grandma's curlers and make scorpions in the middle of the living room. He'd take apart the toasters at 3 years old and put, no matter what that child did, I backed him as his mother, unless, of course, it was something really terrible. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when the schools started coming in, they started
Yeah.
sending him home or not sending him home. Now, my son was born in 94. They started having these tests at school. Does your mother drink? Does your father drink? Do they do drugs? Do they yell at each other? Unbeknownst to us parents, they're asking our children these questions. Well, my son, of course, comes home and he goes, how do I answer that when my father's not around? I'm like, well, what the flip are they teaching, asking you? Oh, yeah, no. No, if you don't think I was up in that office first thing, I said, how dare you question my 5-year-old, he was 5 at the time, these questions about his home life.
That is.
I said, what is going on here? And then it got worse and worse and worse. And they were trying to tell him how to think and this. And I would go to these IEPs, right? Because my son had like an IQ of 160, but yet his social skills were really low. And I'd be going there. I said, because that's, excuse my language, they're effing bullying my kid. And the next kid that touches my kid, oh yeah, we're going to have a problem. And this went on and on and on. This is before bullying became like really, really known. Okay. So to speed it up, I said, no, you can be whatever you want to be, son, whatever you want to be. But mom, they say that this is what I am, and this is what I am going to be, because that's what the statistics, and I blew up. I beat those statistics and show those MFers. If that's what you want to do, if you want to be a statistic, then be a statistic, baby. I will support you being a statistic. But if you, no, mama, I'm not a statistic. I'm Stephen Walton, and I am blah, 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 and this is what I want to be. And this is and so I have always supported him. Even when he went from a 4.7 to a 1.5 in college, because once again, did not prepare them. And he went to like the college that, you had to be like one of the super brains to get into, right? And it's because they didn't challenge him once again. And they took away the engineering program. I'm trying to make this quick. Made it into 2 parts where you could not draw and build. You could only build or draw. And I'm like, are you flipping retarded? What is that about? So anyways, I said, I don't care if you're flipping burgers, dude. As long as you are happy in what you do and truly happy and not following along and, being your own person. You need to be your own person. I've always believed that in everybody,
Yes.
and that's what
Yeah.
ticks me
I've
off,
gotta
because
stop you
these
on this one
parents
real
are
quick.
going along with these. Sorry.
Yes. You're doing fine. I just gotta say yes.
Colin, I
Not a
remember
number.
that. I
I'm a
remember
free
that.
man.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right.
Just
I grew
live
up.
it.
Continue, V-Star.
Just one point. It's like when I went into school, 2 points. When I went into school and I said, why are you having a pizza party? Why are you rewarding behavior that should already just naturally happen? Well, it's good behavior. No, they should behave in school anyways. I said, you're rewarding them for something that they should already do. It's like me giving my son an allowance because his duties are around the house, blah, blah, blah. Then in high school, he was walking down you're going to love this one, y'all. He was walking down the corridors, and there's this girl that liked him, and he was not into her, whatever. And he mentioned Columbine. Well, do you know they called me out of work, and they said that my son was being held for terroristic threatening because he was going to blow up the school like Columbine, and wanted me to sign papers stating that. I'm like, oh yeah, well, I got my passed down to the school, and his friends. I have always been friends with my son's friends. I made it a point to know what was going on. Do you know what I'm saying? Not like buddy buddies, but hey, if something's going on, I want you all to be able to come to me openly. I want it to be that open kind of parent, but still a parent, but not a best friend. Anyways, they're texting me saying, "Oh, that's not what happened." As the principal saying, sign this, Mrs. Walton. You have to. I said, I don't have to sign shit. And I'm not signing shit. And I want an intervention because that girl liked my son. Now my son is frantic because he's like, oh my God, there goes my future. They're going to arrest me. And he's very dramatic. And I'm like, no, son, because I'm not going to sign bullshit. Do you think that I'm going to go in there? Oh, yes, okay. I'm scared of a principal? No. But you see how they have been bamboozled, and then they bamboozle the parents. There's no parental in my mind that I see backbone for these really highly gifted individuals. They're going to side with somebody who heard him say that. They're going to side with somebody who threw a desk at my son, and my son threw a book on the floor, and my son gets in trouble, but the person who throws the desk at my son doesn't. Tell me where there's justice, y'all. Tell me how that makes sense.
Me and then, of my school
and I'll leave it at that. Yes. Not with this mama. Sorry, y'all never seen that side of it. And it wasn't just with my son. I had kids all over the place that I would defend because where are the parents? Nowhere to be found. But anyways, so that's my take, and it's programming them from a super young age now. I see it everywhere I go. It's crazy. And then they wonder why people make fun of the millennials. That's how they were raised. What, they don't know any different.
All right.
If you were raised to show up to work and you're going to be CEO, I mean, pizza parties because you show up to school? Wow. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that reminds me of...
Anyways, that's all the babbling I had.
Yeah, I mean, that reminds me of my school life. I mean, in elementary school, in kindergarten, I was taught completely different ideals when it came to what I was taught. I was taught to be creative, to be myself, to pretty much further my education, even though I was so young. And I did. By fifth grade, I was reading encyclopedias and understanding every fucking word in it. And I mean, come second and third grade, I was stifled. It's like I said, I mean, I learned things backwards. And because of that, it was harder for me to learn things because I had to learn it backwards. When I learned cursive, it was like I was discouraged from learning it.
Where'd she go?
I don't know. But yeah, I was discouraged from learning it. And mind you, this is the
That's
80s.
Weird.
This is the 80s.
You were discouraged from learning cursive at the 80s?
Yeah.
They were pushing cursive on me in the 80s.
Well, this was second grade. I already knew how to learn cursive. I mean, write in cursive by second grade.
It's second grade. I didn't learn cursive till about third.
Yeah, and their reasoning was, you're not supposed to learn this yet. Write normally. I'm like, I'm writing like this so I know how to do it. Because I learn by doing, not by seeing. I learn by doing, not by listening.
Oh, okay, V-Star. Apparently a storm's coming. And
And
Lady Miss Mark the Infinitely Voided, welcome. I'm glad you could join us.
but yeah, I
And
mean,
I'm loving your guys' thoughts on these. And I just really, I think this whole cancel culture is really just dumb. And and Mark is right. I believe that there are points in people's lives where they were educated to think this way. And
mhm,
and it's sad that
yeah,
there is no free thinking anymore.
yeah, I
Because
mean,
it's taught out of us to
yeah,
not free think.
yeah, I mean, and to go further, I've been in a few schools. I've moved around a lot, partly because my family was military, partly because, well, family had a divorce, blah, 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 everything moves around, yada, yada. Low
So
money
basically,
issues,
army
blah,
brat.
blah, blah.
Got it.
Yeah. And
I'm
one of
familiar
the
with
things about
that.
being an army brat is you learn to stand up for yourself. And I went to school in another school a while back, and just because I stood up,
Yeah, you cut out just because you stood up for yourself. Are we is everything 5x5 here?
not on my end, but that's because I keep finding all these potholes. But
Potholes in the internet?
yeah, it's called the Ethernet cord. Faulty Ethernet cords. Don't buy cheap Ethernet cords. Anyways, as I was saying, I mean, I was taught to defend myself, to stand up for myself, and all this and all that. And mind you, my mom was well known through this school. I mean, she painted murals of like Donald Duck and Mickey Mouse, and I mean, anything that they wanted her to paint into this school. And
I
she
know
did it
when
by hand.
I know when I started writing horror stories and for journal writings, they were like, "No, you can't do that
Oh,
because it's too free thinking. We can't have that." And I got suspended for it because I kept doing it, and I'm like, "Mom," and my mom just took the suspension and she said, "You need to stop this nonsense." And I just kept going.
I mean,
I
I
kept
had
going and and my grades kept dropping and she wondered why. And I told her why because I'm not listening to it.
yeah, I mean, I was told that, I mean, I have a very unique writing skill. And not just from people today. I mean, people ever since I started writing, when I was taught how to write in grade school. And yeah, I have dyslexia. I've had dyslexia for a long time. It's really messed with my typing skill. I mean, my spelling. But when I actually get the spelling correct and all that fun stuff, blah, 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 you can actually see a very unique stance in how I write. And I had teachers say, you can't write like this because it's not how you're supposed to write. And I've had teachers say, keep writing like this. This is the best thing I've ever seen. It's like a conflict back in the 80s. And it's even worse when you're called into the principal's office because you got into a fight defending yourself because a bunch of kids were trying to bully you and you put them in their place.
I had this one principal that after elementary, after all that stuff, and I was still writing, and my middle school principal was like, "You keep being you. Don't listen to what those teachers say about your writing. I don't care what they say. I don't care what they try to do. I'm not going to let them suspend you because this is some of the best stuff I've seen in ages. But and I kept going, and I believe that's why I one of the reasons I keep going, because I still hearken back to those words that principal told me.
Yeah, I mean, the the first issue I had with a principal was actually over me getting into a fight. And mind you, I was already rather pissed off from the fight, and now I'm being pulled into the office, and my mom's called in. Well, this is actually a kind of funny story. Do you remember those big oak desks?
Yes.
I mean, those 150, 200-pound oak desks. Essentially, it boiled down to my mom trying to explain, look, my son was taught to defend himself. He is not going to sit down. He is not going to lie down. He is not going to take a beating and almost die. We live in a part of this very city that if you do that, you're dead. And the principal went and go, yeah, but it's not how society works these days. You want to talk about society in a school. You want to talk about society in a school. Okay. Schooling is a shell around society. Society works outside of it.
It's its own school's its own little bubble.
Yes.
And I agree with this. What happened to teachers and principals that who encouraged WTF? I'll tell you what happened to them. They retired.
Yeah. Let's put it this way. He went as far as losing his composure while talking with my mom and me. And calling my mom, and these are the exact words, a bitch. And
We'll see you around, Mark. Have a good rest of your day, buddy. If you're still here and with us. Continue. I'm sorry to interrupt, but continue.
okay. Anyways, where did I leave off?
Something about teachers.
Anyways, this principal eventually calls my mom a bitch because he loses composure, he loses his professionalism, and I just stand up. I'm like 7, 8, probably about 85 pounds soaking wet, and like 5'2" and scrawny as hell. I grab that desk and I pick it up and I shove it at him midair. Then I walk out and I tell him, don't
And
you
people
ever
wonder why.
call my mom a bitch. Everybody in the school heard it. I walk out of his office. The PE teacher tries to grab me and restrain me.
Yeah. I was one of those kids that acted out on my principals, and principal literally picks me up and choke slams me into a wall.
Yeah.
And has got away with it for years. It's hard to tell how many other people. He's long since retired now.
Oh, the principal I'm talking about actually was forced out a month later. None of the teachers liked him after what he did. Because, as I said, my mom was a standing known person in that school. And when they called her a bitch, not only did he get a oak desk against his chest, but he literally got all the respect he had taken away from him. And it's like, it's good to know that teachers like that, I mean, people like that in schools do get reprimanded, but it takes so much for it to happen.
Heck, we even went to court over it, and it
Yeah.
still didn't do nothing.
Yeah, I think he wanted to take us to court over me putting the desk through his chest, but I don't think that would have been too good on his end. Because
you stood up and defended your mother.
Yeah.
That's respectable.
Yeah. And I mean, it's sad because this is around the turn where everybody's supposed to be passive when they're getting bullied. And I didn't passive. And it's just sad that people are trying to tell, oh, you have the right to defend yourself, but you're not allowed to. Okay, so what do I do? I mean, that's the whole oxymoron of it. And I mean, that I think that's also the part of the issue with the bullying issue that we have now. Nobody's allowed to stand up for themselves, and thus, guess what?
And then when we stand up for ourselves, we look like the villain and the bad guy, and we're
they
the
wonder
problem.
why depression is rampant against bullied kids. It's like their hands are tied. They're just going to be bullied over and over and over because they can't defend us.
We can't free think. We can't defend ourselves. What are we going to do? What is there for kids to do?
Yeah, I mean,
you wonder why cancel culture and these teenage problems are so rampant.
Yeah, I mean,
you get down to the moral nitty gritty of everything. It all stems back to how we were taught. It really does. It all comes back to how we and our kids are being taught. And I think that's where all this cancel culture is actually really coming from. Because when they do get a free thinking idea in their brain, they don't exactly know how to go about it. And if they really had those ideas budding are in their heads and had it nurtured when it was at their young years, I believe that it probably would have come to something fruitful in their adulthood. And Colin P. Smith, thank you for coming.
Yeah, later.
You're always a breath of fresh air to have in the chat. I'd love to actually have you on for some Lovecraft sessions if you really want to get into it. I don't know. Probably talk to Purple Valkyrie. We could shoot her an email, and maybe we could I'll get in contact with you via email. I'll represent myself and whatever. I'll present myself and what I've got to get in contact with you. And wonder why. Yes, V-Star makes a valid point. Very valid point. I just don't know if I could say some of this on the tubes. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have to agree to that. I mean, that's another thing I self-taught myself about, and honestly, I got reprimanded for it. We were supposed to write an essay about things that were wrong in the world, and back then, you got to remember, drugs were rampant in the 80s. I mean, highly rampant.
They were. 80s were the age of excess.
And
I mean, if you look at any of those rock documentaries, you could really see that
yeah,
in
and
full force.
my
B-Star could
history
even attest
teacher,
to that. She's got some really cool stories about really interesting stories about the Sunset Strip.
but yeah, I got reprimanded by a history teacher once for writing an essay about the history of drugs.
Really?
Yeah, and
Why does that
our
not surprise me? It really doesn't.
and I went into so much detail that I even explained all the current and all the previous slang for drugs.
It's like
That's
you
how in detail I went.
the,
And
the audience can literally see me slowly die inside.
yeah, and the history teacher tried to give me a bad grade because it was about drugs, a controversial e- event in life. And I'm like, you told us to write about what's wrong in this world. You told us to write about a historical event that has caused an issue for the longest time. Well, I wrote about one,
I didn't
one
say
that
about
nobody wants to
drugs.
talk about.
I said about the age of excess in the Sunset Strip. I didn't say anything about drugs.
Yeah,
V-Star. But since you're okay. Oh,
yeah.
I needed that little laugh. I felt myself slowly dying inside.
But I mean, that's just how our schooling has gone. And I mean, it's sad because what are we even teaching at this point? I mean,
Um,
there when I was in high school, they were trying to pull the whole Jesus thing while keeping all the other pantheons of religion in. And I'm sitting here like, if we're going to learn about religion, let's learn about them all or none of them. I prefer all of them.
yeah, me too. I find all the other pantheons actually quite interesting.
Yeah, and
Greek,
it gives
Roman,
you a
Norse.
view. It gives you a view that nothing else can give you. I mean, it's
I
like
I
you're.
hardly agree with you. It does.
I mean, it's like you're raised Christian, but nobody but a non-denomination will tell you, "Hey, go research yourself. See what you really want to believe in." You know, and I mean, being able to have access to that kind of thing is a good thing.
Yeah. I think we're gonna wrap this up. I think we actually really nailed the true problem. Cancel culture. Consider yourself officially canceled. This is Darth
That's
Aster and
but
Gura and Jealous and V
yeah,
Star.
yeah.
Lady
I mean,
Mist, thank you for coming. Thank you for wrenching. I believe Butterflies was in here for a minute. Mark the infinitely voided. I was about to say Mark the infinitely tired. You changed your name. Oh,
what are we wrapping up?
yeah. I think we're good for now.
All right. Well,
Uh, any final remarks?
yeah. I just find it funny that even in my day, they were trying to pretty much push things on us and not give us the full story.
Parrot Head, thank you for coming. Positive Candor, I'm glad you came. Thank you. I know I sound so enthusiastic right now, but yeah, I think
Woohoo!
I slowly died
Party!
inside a little.
Yeah.
It's not really I can't really make this hardly a joke unless hardly. But next thing they're going to tell us is they're going to cancel Barbie dolls because they're not realistic. They're too plastic.
Yeah, I think.
And by plastic, I'm referencing the movie Mean Girls.
Yeah, goddamn Barbie dolls.
Basically. Hey, look, those Barbie doll plastics are now our future Karens.
Yeah.
Yay! Come see
So
my
is
manager. Oh wait, I am my manager. Darth
so
Haster.
is
Darth Haster out.
so I got a question.